Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing another mystery makeup video. So I'm going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle today and kind of conspiracy theories linked around it, and be doing my makeup. Just to clarify, if you are new to my channel, Bailey Sarian, she kind of started this mystery makeup trend, so totally go over and follow her. So, the Bermuda Triangle. Ugh. Everyone's kind of heard of the Bermuda Triangle. It's kind of like a myth, like an urban legend at this point. If you don't know what it is, it's basically an area in the Atlantic Ocean where loads of ships and planes have mysteriously disappeared. So, like I said, it's in an area of the Atlantic Ocean. It's between Puerto Rico, Bermuda and Miami. It's also famously known as the Devil's Triangle. Its other names as well: Limbo of the Lost, the Twilight Zone, Hoodoo Sea and Hurricane Alley. The size of the triangle isn't definite. It could be from 500,000 to 1,000,000 square miles. It wasn't called the Bermuda Triangle until 1964. There was this guy called Vincent Gaddis, and he was an American author. He basically coined the phrase Bermuda Triangle. He used it on the cover of an article for 1964 February issue of the magazine Argosy. And that was the first time Bermuda Triangle was used. I have the biggest spot just here and it won't go away. Long before the Bermuda Triangle became a thing, the actual island of Bermuda was kind of spooky as well. It was actually nicknamed the Devil's Island by early sea travelers. Apparently they were frightened of the calls from the birds and the squeals of the wild pigs on land and were just freaked out by it. But maybe they were more scared of the fact there were shipwrecks all over the place. Could you imagine just coming across this island and seeing shipwrecks all over the place? It's crazy. So Times magazine have said that between 1946 and 1991 there have been over 100 disappearances. I don't know about you, but that's kind of a lot of disappearances. I should note as well that all of the disappearances are still a mystery. These people have never been found. Apparently an average of 4 planes and 20 boats are said to vanish in the zone every single year. So I'm sure you've all heard of Christopher Columbus, the guy who claimed to have found America. Well, he was actually one of the first people to write about the Bermuda Triangle. So he wrote in his notebook about really odd occurrences that were happening. He said that the ship's compass had stopped working and there were really strange lights in the sky. He described the lights as a small wax candle that rose and lifted up. Christopher Columbus's son, Ferdinand, also said that these lights looked like a candle that was going up and down. And Christopher also said that the sea was very rough and violent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few... Here's my eyebrow gel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few of the main disappearances, and then I'm going to talk about some theories about what actually happened. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a huge ship called the USS Cyclops on the 4th of May 1918, and it disappeared somewhere between the West Indies and Baltimore. So the thing about this ship, right, it was 550 feet long, it had 306 crew members on board and was carrying around 11,000 tons of manganese, kind of this chemical element that's like rock, and it just disappeared. So the captain never sent out a distress signal, nobody answered any radio calls, and when it happened people kind of made out some horrible monster from the deep had come up and eaten the ship, but that probably didn't happen. I mean, it could have done, who knows honestly. Some people think there was a huge wave and it capsized this boat, and it had capsized somewhere over the Puerto Rico Trench, so it had just basically sank into this trench and they can never ever find it again. The Puerto Rico Trench is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean. So if that had happened, it basically would be unretrievable. Okay, the second one is on December 18th, 1948. A Douglas Dakota DC-3 airplane carrying 29 passengers and 3 crew members mysteriously disappeared. It disappeared around 50 miles from its destination in Miami, and it sent a radio call before it disappeared saying it was in its final position. It was 20 minutes away from where it would land, and it just completely vanished. So before taking off, the captain had said that the landing gear lights weren't working and that the aircraft batteries were low on water and they needed charging. Apparently they stopped at the end of the runway due to a lack of two-way communication. The captain was like, I can hear you, but I'm worried you can't hear us. So the head of Puerto Rican Transport went out to the aircraft and kind of took everyone in, and they waited 3 hours for the batteries to charge before taking off. They wanted to be sure, like, they were going to be okay. And they were flying over, there was absolutely no issues. Like I said, they said 20 minutes before they were supposed to land, yeah, we're nearly ready to land. Completely disappeared, never found again. So in October 1951, there was this huge boat called the MV Southern Districts, and it disappeared somewhere within the Bermuda Triangle. Not really sure where it disappeared, but it disappeared. It completely vanished without a trace. There was absolutely no evidence until 4 years later. So in 1955, a life jacket with the Southern Districts like name on it washed up near the coast of Florida, and that is literally the only evidence. There has been no debris, like nothing at all. That is the only thing, which I think's a bit weird. So the next one I'm going to talk about is probably one of the most famous disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. So this is the disappearance of Flight 19. I think this is the only one that I'd actually like heard about before I'd done my research on this. So on the 5th of December 1945, there were 5 military torpedo bombers, and they were departing for Florida on a routine training mission. They left at about 2 p.m. Before they left, reports and checks were done on the aircrafts to make sure they're safe, there are absolutely no problems with them, they were all fine. When they left, the weather was nice. So these aircrafts had the nicknames of Iron Birds because of their tendencies to hold up in battle. They could also carry up to 2,000 pounds of ammunition, so they were these really, really sturdy aircrafts. There were 14 men aboard these aircrafts in total, and they didn't have GPS at this time, so they were heavily relying on compasses. When they were out on this mission, their compasses started to malfunction, and there was an emergency transmission that was picked up by a control tower. The emergency transmission said, "We can't find west, everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Everything looks strange, even the ocean." There was one more transmission before they disappeared. The last transmission said, "We can't make out anything. We may be about 225 miles northeast of the base. It looks like we're entering whitewater. We're completely lost." So obviously these guys were out and about and their compasses stopped working and they got lost and they were like freaking out. I'm so pale today. They also heard them say at some point, if one of the planes goes under 10 gallons, they'll go down together. So maybe one of the planes ran out of gas and they were like, well, if one of us runs out, we'll all go down as a team. So straight away, there was this Marine Flyerbird that was sent out to rescue them, and it makes one radio call and it's never seen again. And straight away they sent out a rescue team to look for them, and they found absolutely nothing. The Navy released a statement when they couldn't find them, and the statement said, "We are not even able to make a good guess as to what happened." They just had no idea where these planes had gone, and they still have no idea. So the next one is on December the 22nd, 1967. Now this one was a yacht called Witchcraft. It was a 23-foot yacht, and there was 3 people on it, I think a husband and his wife, and then a trained, not a pilot, sailor. Interestingly about this yacht as well, it was actually fitted with a flotation device like in the centre of the yacht, so even if it like got hit and started filling with water, it would be able to float on top of the water. This boat was about a mile out from Miami when the captain called the Coast Guard to let them know they'd hit something and needed towing back. Apparently the captain sounded super calm, didn't sound like they were sinking, was just like, yeah, we need some help. So they send someone out on a boat and it gets there 19 minutes later, and they couldn't find Witchcraft anywhere. This boat had life jackets, it had floatable seats, it had rafts, it had flares, it also had that like flotation device in the centre of the boat. There was nothing. They couldn't find anything. They didn't find the boat, they didn't find the people, they didn't find absolutely any trace. I think that one's so strange. I'm going to be talking about some of the theories people have about where these people have gone, what has exactly happened to them, and why we can't find them. So theory number 1 is that the Bermuda Triangle is just naturally a dangerous place. Some people think that hurricanes could be formed, like really quickly, like it could be formed from the sea and all these sea hurricanes could be formed and they're just like out of nowhere. Or it could just be really sudden other intense weather. Like I said about the deep underwater trenches, there could potentially be really intense quick weather that capsizes boats and then they fall down, they sink into these trenches. So the wreckage from these boats and planes could literally be on the bottom of the ocean. There's no evidence that disappearances happen more frequently in the Bermuda Triangle to like other places in the world, other parts of the ocean, but they're just like a mystery, like just dunno. So theory number 2 is that there's a magnetic field. Apparently the Bermuda Triangle is like a place where true north and magnetic north like line up, so that might have something to do with why the compasses stopped working, or like planes are malfunctioning or something. Lightning might intensify magnetic fields as well, that could account for the compass, the electrical machine failures, and when it's really intense it could cause something that looks like balls in the sky, like light balls. And that kind of links in with what Christopher Columbus said about the light balls in the sky, so maybe. The next theory is that there's mass concentrations of gravitational pull. So some people think that there's this force that's pulling ships and planes down into the sea. So there could be these periodic methane bubbles that erupt randomly in the sea, and if a boat is on there it could disturb them, it could capsize them and pull them down. All over the world as well, so they are actually something that does exist. It's not a bad theory, it just doesn't really explain about how the planes would be pulled down. Okay, you ready for the next theory? That one is Atlantis. So people think there's like a portal in the Bermuda Triangle that takes you to the lost city of Atlantis. So Plato wrote about Atlantis. He wrote about them being like an ancient civilization that were really forward thinking with technology and everything, and then one random day the whole kingdom was just like pulled down into the sea. So some people think that there's like a portal in the Bermuda Triangle and it like drags people down and takes them to the lost city of Atlantis. So they're not all dead, they're just in this other magical place. I don't personally believe it, but if you do, that's okay. You can believe what you want to believe. The next theory kind of links up to the Atlantis theory as well. So some people think that the Bermuda Triangle is a gateway to another universe. Kind of like a black hole. Like people think there's something similar to a black hole in the Bermuda Triangle. Some people think that when they're around like this specific point, it like pulls them in and they can travel through time or take them to like different universes. People think this because travel time in the Bermuda Triangle is quite unpredictable. Some journeys take a really quick time to get there, some journeys seem to go on for hours and hours. There was this flight instructor called Bruce Gernon, and he was flying his plane and he said he kind of went through some like electrical hazy fog. His compass stopped working, and when he came out of the fog he looked down and he was over Miami. He looked at his watch and he'd been flying for 40 minutes and it should have been a 90-minute flight. There was a scientist called John Hutchinson, and he discovered that when electromagnetic fields interact with each other, astonishing things could happen. Things like making metal glow, changing form, becoming disfigured. So some people think that there's a sort of like wormhole in the Bermuda Triangle caused by these electromagnetic fields. And the final theory I'm going to be talking about today is the theory of aliens. So this is such a popular theory. So people think that extraterrestrials are the reason for people's disappearances. It would explain the sudden disappearances and the reason why we can't find them. So there was this cruise ship called Carnival Cruise Ship in 2014, and the passengers on this cruise ship said they saw like UFOs flying above the cruise just in like broad daylight. There's even like video evidence of this. I don't know how I feel about aliens. I don't know. It's such a tricky one because I think aliens are real. I don't think they're on planet Earth. I think they're far too far away to like ever make contact. But it just depends. It depends like what you think about it. It depends like if you believe in aliens. Like it's okay if you do believe in the alien theory. I just don't think it's ready for me. From researching this weird Bermuda Triangle thing, like I actually have no idea what could have happened. Like potentially it could be that there is like an electromagnetic field somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle and really sudden bad weather, but like I don't know. I thought it was something that's a little bit different, and I really enjoyed actually like looking it up and learning a lot about it. I would love to know what other people think though, if you've got any theories, what I talked about, what I didn't talk about, if you've got any other theories. I would love to know what you think happened, because I've got no clue. So that is the end of my video. Sorry for being such a pale one today. Ooh. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Thank you, bye!